I'm gonna rein this in.
All right, sorry.
Okay, guys.
Let's play D&D.
Let's play some D&D. Yes, indeed.
Right.
I guess.
If we have to. Let's play this game that we love. All right. Well, last time we started our adventure, basically coming into town with Jen's character, who is yet to be named, walking into the middle of a funeral, memorial, something similar, which has some nice words to say for the speaker of the town, or the town's leader, who unfortunately a couple of days ago was killed. However, near the end of the memorial, a fog rolled in over town, and you were attacked as you were trying to get to safety by some small, icy, rocky creatures and some sort of floating shard of ice. You managed to dispatch those creatures, but and with hopefully minimal injuries. And as the fog cleared, we ended the episode. What I can tell you guys now is that as the fog cleared, what you really saw was each of you standing in different positions around the town, with houses covered in frost and fog, and you do see a couple of figures in different distances that look like they're individual townsfolk that were accosted during the fog. And that's where we left off. You guys are standing post-battle in the middle of a street, leading towards the mead hall.
The fog has lifted?
The fog has lifted. You can now see, it's still that sort of, it's always perpetually the pre-dawn or dusk light, or like dawn and dusk light. So you can see everywhere around you as far as you can see, but it's still that sort of weirdly filtered, almost muted light.
Does anything remain of the crystal shard that Carnelian destroyed?
Yeah, you were there last time. Do you want to just take a look at the shard in front of you? So you bend down, and there are some small fragments and remnants of this, what looked on initial inspection to be some kind of floating, almost like a floating giant snowflake even, or just a shard of ice.
Am I still over with the NPC person?
You're going to make me look at the map.
You full restored him.
I think so.
Yeah, so
Let's heal him.
if we, I could probably take us to the map if you want me to.
Do it.
Sure.
Just to give you an idea of where you're sort of standing around.
Okay. Yep, they're good.
So that shard is obviously dead, but as the fog emerged, you can see Carnelian holding rapier in hand, sort of poking down, I guess, into the... are you bent over looking at the shard, or are you just poking it with your rapier?
I don't think he would have to bend over.
Probably not. So you just see Carnelian just sort of looking down, this sort of kobold face staring into the snow, looking at these shards of ice that are on the ground. Wodun and Horacio, you're near a commoner that has taken refuge in a small little enclave of a building. It was the one that was hurt. You do see some other figures sort of in the distance. I'll just put one on the map here in an alleyway, obviously sheltering and hearing the sounds of battle, trying to keep out of the way. Mm-hmm. But it looks to be that, for now, everyone's okay.
You there, commoner. Grab my hand.
Are you addressing the commoner in the alcove on the east there? Yes.
Formerly injured man.
Alright, so...
Come with us. We're heading to the mead hall.
Oh, okay, I'm not a man, but... Sure.
Sorry, it's still a bit foggy. I've got some snow in my eye.
He's still got his foggles on.
Sure. She nervously takes your hand.
I'm sorry, the mead hall? Is that where we're headed?
Yes. To make sure everyone else is okay. It's nearby.
Let's do that.
I'm pretty sure it's nearby.
Do you want to take a look around?
Yeah.
You do find yourself you're a little bit further north than you expected, but you do think that if you backtrack a little bit, you'll find the mead hall. What is everyone else doing?
Besides the monsters that we just fought, is there any like commoner dead bodies around or anything like that?
Do you want to take a perception check?
Sure, I'll also wipe the fog out of my eyes as
Okay.
well. And,
Roll me a perception check.
I shouldn't have used that dice.
Oh no.
So,
Not again.
you know what, I'm just not going to use my metal dice.
I'm only going to use my metal dice.
That's actually a 1.
A 1.
Because I have a -1 to perception.
Really? What's your wisdom?
Oh, no, I don't. That was
was
my
gonna-
persuasion.
I was going to say, the character that you're going, I thought you would have had decent wisdom.
7.
7. That's a far side different.
You know, I should clear my own eyes, IRL.
Yeah, you I mean, oh, look, the fog has probably affected your vision somewhat. You were reduced to about 5 feet of visibility at one point. You do see other people dusting themselves off. Like, as I said, there's someone in the alleyway to the west of where you are right now. You can see them on the map. You see some other figures, but it's hard to tell bodies. Like, you don't see anyone that's sort of in immediate need of aid.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so no one
how-
looks injured or anything.
Yeah.
Apart from, like, light injuries that you guys
Okay.
took. No, it doesn't
How
appear.
far after? This is straight after our fight?
Yes, we're picking up
I'm
then.
going to roll with advantage because I'm still
You're still shifted? Alright, well, let's see if you get a better one.
It's cocked. It's better.
Pretty good.
23.
23 is a little bit better.
To my
Okay.
special IC.
You wipe the fog from your eyes and you sort of don't really see anything, and then you sort of rub them harder, and then your cat sort of pupils slit, and you're looking around, and you do see a few figures in the distance. You know, some on the way to the mead hall, some a little bit further north on the street that were caught in the middle of trying to get into their homes. You can approach them if you want to try and talk to them and see how they're going.
Is there like a group of them?
They're scattered throughout the street. So, do we have a good map of Goodmead here? Would be a good question. Good.
Mead.
Mead. Do you guys remember the map that I showed you for this town?
No.
Sort of? Not really? I don't want to reveal too much.
Where would my house be from here?
Well,
Because I know I'm not staying at the mead hall because it's not an inn. It's just
No.
like a big hall.
yeah.
So where would my house be in relation to this?
Well, I mean,
Nearby?
that's sort of up to you, I guess. You've only been lived in. Well, how long have you been in Goodmead? You know yourself a bit better. Have you been staying with someone here in town, or are you
No,
been by
I've
yourself?
got my own place.
Okay.
Whatever that may be here, like whether they do houses or
They
like
do. Mostly along sort of the northern road that runs then east-west, sort of through town, or I would say northeast to southwest through town. Most of the houses are along that part, whereas the front sort of reserved for the old fishing industry, the shrine, the mead hall, and the speaker's house. But a bit northern side of town, there's some other residential houses, so yours would be somewhere in there if you're living by yourself.
That's like a couple minutes walk from where we are.
Yeah, it'd be a few minutes walk.
So we basically, that whole fight, we were just in the middle of town.
Yeah, you tried to leave the shrine, and really the mead hall was only just across the road, but the fog came in so quickly it disoriented you.
Yeah.
So you're a bit further north than you expected,
Okay.
so you'd have to double back a little bit.
Alright.
But, I mean, this is the first... Not to put a too fine a point on it, this is the first time you guys have talked to each other, right? Like, do you guys all know each other?
No, well, Horacio doesn't recognise any of these people. In fact, he's never been to this town before. He seems more preoccupied with seeing if anyone's injured. And upon hearing Wodun mention going to the mead hall to see if everyone else is okay, that's become his main priority now.
Okay. And you can also see Jen's character, who is now looking around to into some of the houses to the side. Are you approaching some of those people to make sure they're okay?
Yeah, the commoner that is to the, I assume that's the west.
Yeah.
That I can see here.
Yes, it is.
I'll go over to them. Is
Sure.
there multiple?
There are a few, so you could go to each of them in turn and spend a bit of time making sure everyone's okay.
Yeah, just checking for wounds if they've gotten
Okay.
hurt or anything like that.
If you'd like to, do you want to follow this strange person or this strange cat
Well,
person?
the other
or-
strange person. It doesn't look like a cat.
Choose your strange person.
Carnelian will be heading towards the priest who healed him.
Right.
With
So?
thank you. and offering perhaps some silver coins for services rendered.
I thank you, little one, but no need for coins. No need for coins. I have no use for them, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Huh.
I'm gonna turn around and notice that Horacio and Carnelian are behind me, and see that Carnelian's offering coins and make an attempt as well.
Oh boy.
All right.
Is this custom for you?
No, it is not custom for me. Please keep your coins.
Wait. Thank you for healing me.
Oh, you're most welcome. I'm Horacio, by the way.
I'm Svieta.
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 Yes. I'm a local to the area. I haven't seen you before, except at the funeral.
No, well, I spent a bit of time near here, but not in this town. This is my first time to the town, so yes, it's all very new for me. But I feel like I know what I'm doing now.
What town are you from?
What town am I?
You're gonna ask me because you should know. Yeah.
Give me a sec.
You're a local, Svieta?
Yes, I've seen you around.
You must have. Oh. Have you been out of town?
I have, don't worry.
Oh, good.
It's like that moment when you like someone says "Hey" to you, and you're like "Hey,"
Hey,
and you clearly
bud.
don't recognize him now.
Thank you.
It's
Bud.
my favorite guy.
I would say Svieta as well. You probably do semi-recognize Carnelian a little bit. He's been hanging around town recently, but probably not long enough for you to really know who he is necessarily.
Well, probably. How long has Carnelian been in town?
Like a week.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he may
probably
even not
haven't.
been, yeah.
Yeah.
So he might be in your arrival.
I just came back from my travels.
So you're going between yourself, I suppose, and Horacio. I guess you're going from just checking a few of the villages around here, and then they indicate that they're fine. It looks like no one's gotten more than a scrape or a bruise here and there. Nothing that getting inside out of the cold won't fix.
Yeah. Still just waiting on the locale of where Horatio is.
So you're
Yeah.
digging and rummaging and digging again through these seemingly infinite robes of his. So really, all I've only ever really been to the House of the Morning Lord. Actually, I've been sent here, you see, to the 10 towns on an assignment. And to be honest, it's been pretty slow going. Clearly there wasn't a lot for me to do at the church, and I was finally sent on assignment to here.
Oh,
For the funeral?
For the
Or-
funeral.
oh, that was you. Shandar was talking about a friend of his that was coming in.
Yeah, that must have been me. I'm just glad to get out of that church.
Svieta, at the mention of the House of the Morning Lord, you would recognize that as a pretty much the only temple in one of the major towns nearby called Bryn Shander.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a sort of a major temple there, and as much as these towns can get major temples, it's not like they have individual god temples like other big places in Faerun. This one's just sort of a bit more dedicated to the Morning Lord, but there's a couple of, if you know your sort of D&D deities, you can probably piece together that's probably referring to someone else. But they sort of use older names up here further north than maybe the rest of the Forgotten Realms.
Was it not mentioned in your eulogy that you were of the follower of Glenmore?
Indeed, yes. It was the Church of Callan that sent me up here on assignment. Yes.
I'm sorry, you said you had been to the Temple of the Morning Lord in...
The House of the Morning
House
Lord.
of the Morning Lord.
Yes. You see, that was the the major religious hub of the 10 towns, if you like.
Certainly of Bryn Shander. at the
Bryn
very least,
yeah. That's why I was sent there from Baldur's Gate on my first assignment. So, yeah, here I am, finally doing something. So it's good to be here.
Well, how long do you expect to
freezing.
be in Goodmead for?
I don't know. Beyond this, I haven't been given an assignment. I haven't even been told to go back.
Perhaps it's been good for you to stay if there's another attack.
Indeed. Perhaps that's why I was told, or not told, I should say, to come back.
So your church might have known about this attack?
I would certainly hope not. But I don't know them very well. I mean, it's entirely possible.
Probably to mention as well, the House of the Morning Lord's not like a church to Kalimva or anything like that, so it's probably independent from Horacio's actual clergy, but they probably know each other. That's why there's some sort of exchange.
Connection, right?
Yeah.
We should probably get these commoners inside.
Indeed. Let's see if we can treat anyone who's injured.
Okay. So between, I'm going to say between Wodun and Svieta, you're able to sort of make your way up this sort of main street and just make sure everyone's sort of okay, and get them into their houses. And I'll give them, you've got spending some time doing that. While that's happening, Wodun and Carnelian, is there anything in particular you'd like to do?
Carnelian will just head for the mead hall.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely, you can.
Not particularly willing to engage in conversation just yet, outside of thanks.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So you just sort of awkwardly say, okay, shuffle along, and the mead hall's not far. So that is the place where they were sort of saying for people to gather that didn't otherwise have safety. So you know there'll be a few people probably gathered there at the moment. To be clear for people listening as well, the mead hall's not, as we were probably talking about before, not a tavern as such. It's actually the primary production of mead throughout the 10 towns. I would consider it like a... I think I might have said in a previous episode. Almost like a craft brewery or a microbrewery where most of the production of mead's in the back of the house in this sort of massive heated area to help bee husbandry. And then the front of it, there's a couple tables there, here and there, like throughout the front, so people can sit. And there's obviously a main bar sort of area, like tavern, but pretty much the only thing that's on tap is mead. But there's no like in services or anything like that in there. It's purely for production purposes for the town. Wodun, what would you like to do? You've got this commoner in hand.
Yeah, Wodun will be making quite a spectacle of like trying to help this lady, and he's putting on a show for any onlookers. He's trying to he's putting her arm around his shoulders, trying to carry her despite her being
she's
fully
not
healed.
injured. She's sort of like,
she's kind of like, no,
it's okay. The lovely man. Oh no, it's okay. And then she's sort of like,
please, you're injured. I just want to make sure you're okay.
Oh, it's okay, thank you.
Nope, come on. We're going to the mead hall.
Alright.
I'm going to get you off your feet.
Yes, so you can also, depending on which direction you head initially, but you can also start making your way towards the mead hall as well, if you'd like.
I would like.
Okay. So then after that, it's up to Svieta and Horacio where they want to go from here as well. Do you also want to go, or, I'm sure Svieta has a home to go to as well, but where would you like to go? Well, in this moment, it's still relatively early morning. I would say that this funeral service has probably started just after dawn, maybe at, roughly around 7-ish, 6, 7-ish. So it was an early start. And now after all the fighting's happened and treating people, it's probably coming closer to 8 o'clock or so.
Svieta, are there many people around here, would you say? Is it worth searching to see perhaps if we can find any more injured people? I'm not sure.
It's a decently sized town. There's probably some commoners, which we could probably search for.
You would know as well, the population probably hovers somewhere around 100 people or so. It's not a massive town in the context of 10 towns, but Certainly, one of the bigger dangers in like in this sort of harsh winter is that people can get lost in the snow and freeze to death. If they fall into an area where snow covers them and they're unable to get up and unable to help. Yeah, it's certainly a danger.
Okay.
Is there like a bell in the middle of where we are to like summon people? Like like a fire bell that the whole town can hear?
There's not really, because the town's not really big enough. I guess mostly it's not like a major town that needs such a sharp thing. Usually enough like people yelling will get the militia engaged if it's sort of, or if there's a fire going and the volunteers. The most central place is the Shrine of the Flaming Sword. Is it called? I've got this down here somewhere. Yes, the Shrine of the Flaming Sword, which is why it was sort of the place where everyone gathered for the funeral. From there, you could get up on the little stage and sort of, really rear back your voice and shout out to people if you'd like.
Probably not shout out. I'm not really one for yelling.
But you can spend some time if you'd like to really take a look.
Like if Horatio wants to accompany me, so we're not alone, we could probably traverse the whole town within a short period of time.
Yeah, it would probably take you a good maybe half an hour to get round town, just making careful looks to where you think people might have scattered to. You can certainly do that if you both want to.
I'd like that if we could. I would like to check. I need to know if anyone's injured.
Right, and I will make sure no one offers you silver.
Well, if they do, you can keep it.
Couldn't possibly. I am gonna just quickly walk over to where I dropped my wood on my shoulders.
Just pull it back up.
The bundle,
Probably stop by my house just to drop it off and continue.
If I remember correctly, your house is in the sort of northern part of town towards where the evergreen forest is.
Yeah.
It's not out of the way or anything like that, so you can stop by there if you want.
And I'll follow Svieta. So, judging by that bundle of sticks, you're a local, I take it?
Yes, I do dealings around the other towns, except for Duggan's Hall, which do not like me at all.
I see.
But I am a whittler.
A whittler?
Yes. And I make little figurines and boxes and go around the towns and sell.
I see.
And also bring some meat to other towns for extra cash. Did they say cash in D&D?
Well, if they want strippers, then you want cash to be paper money. No, generally in D&D it's gold.
Coin.
I think they might be called. Sometimes they call them dragons, like silver dragons, gold dragons.
Drakes.
But drakes. The coin is okay, like acceptable, or even just gold, straight up just gold.
Yeah, because Waterdeep has dragons. Because
Yeah.
it's the dragon heist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Certainly, that like different provincial towns will sort of have their own little things. Yeah, drakes, dragons, gold, coin, any of those things will suffice.
Because it has coin.
If you're saying cash, maybe you're starting something new.
Coin and wares.
And the wares, okay.
So is the only thing you can do heal?
That's what I'm known for. Was known for.
Not anymore?
No.
Fine.
Well, I used to be a physician. But I wanted more than that. You see, I got sick of people dying. I watched people in Baldur's Gate die because they couldn't afford the services of the church. Obviously, there's powerful healing magics and divine interventions that can cure people, but not everyone has the coin to pay for it. And I saw with my own eyes people dying empty-handed because they couldn't afford the services. And so I wanted to learn more about healing people, preventing them from dying. So, in desperation, I turned to Kellenville, the Church of Kellenville. It seemed like a good place to start to learn these skills. I just wanted to try and stop people dying. And so I joined. I did what I had to do to get in. And eventually I was put on assignment up here to try and do some good. You see, they won't really let me into the inner inner sanctum, if you like, of the church unless I prove myself. And this was the perfect opportunity to do so. And so here I am, doing what I can, trying to earn their trust, but ultimately trying to heal people.
That there's certainly a reason why you don't accept coin. A lot of the healers in town accept coin and nothing else.
I've seen the greed of some churches. I refuse to be associated with their like. I have what I need. I was provided well by the church, and I don't need anything further than that.
I think I like the way you go through life with this. I think I might take some advice from that and go back to my life living like that and become a healer.
I see. Another healer.
Maybe. I'm still whittling.
Okay.
Could be side job.
Side healer. Well,
that's my accent. You don't steal that.
Sorry.
Give it back.
So yeah, Horatio is quite enthusiastic to hear your interest in healing and well, no, I was going to say medicine, but just healing in general. More importantly, it doesn't necessarily need to be through medicine. But yeah, no, he's quite interested in that. It gave him some hope and some enthusiasm.
Yeah. Hopefully this might be start a good practice in the future if Horatio decides to stick around and teach some healing.
Teach some healing. One thing to note as well is that people will, for certain services across 10 towns, will not always use coin, will also trade wares or barter things as well, because coin might be a bit scarce, but people have to make a living somehow. So, but just being able to get healing when you need it, it's difficult. And you don't always have access to people who can divine or magically heal someone.
And I think Horatio, like from what he's seen in Bryn Shander and from here, from the little time he spent here, he knows it's a very different situation to Baldur's Gate. So it's people. If people out here are dying needlessly, it's not because they can't afford treatment, it's because there's literally no treatment to be had. So that's why, he wants to get out there, he wants to heal.
I like it, yeah. Okay, so we might bring back from you guys. You guys are still, Svieta and Horacio are still heading around town.
We discuss salves as we walk along.
Yeah. Classic
salve.
This is the green one. This one you make from Xander root.
Oh, interesting.
So we might take out of that conversation as it's ongoing. And do you guys have any plans after that? Are you gonna?
If we're satisfied that we've been everywhere and Sveta's taken me and there's no one else, well, I think it would make sense to head to the meat hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we might just change over to Carnelian and Wodun. So I'd imagine Carnelian would have reached the meat hall first. You open it up to find it somewhat busy. I mean, compared to normal, this is sort of the place to be in town anyway. It's very central. But since people are taking shelter here, there's probably more than usual. There's people sitting at different scattered tables. There are even a couple of people brave enough to go and order some mead this early in the morning. You see groups of people clustered together, some huddled together, some openly talking.
Carnelian has an agreement with the proprietors to be able to play here, right?
Yes. Certainly people do find you very unusual, and you've gotten a couple of side looks, but you have sort of approached when you say the proprietor, the mead hall's owned by the town. And
but the people who manage it.
Yes. So you have sort of introduced yourself, and they're aware of who you are, and they do tacitly agree to let you. Are you going to perform? Is that what you're after?
Yeah, he's gonna. Particularly if people are panicked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely people are a bit on edge for sure.
Definitely going to want to ease the tension.
Yep. Okay. So
pull out his viola.
Yep. So then you can find a space off to the side that is sort of cleared. There's no real formal. Again, this is not a proper tavern.
He'll clamber up onto an empty barrel.
Yeah, you can find an empty an empty mead barrel. Like you can, the owners know that you're a bit short, so they just sort of use this empty mead barrel, and you sort of roll it into place, and it's a little bit cleared off, and you start playing. What kind of you're playing a viola? What kind of tune, I guess, are you playing?
Something slow, something suitable for the morning. Not like what he was playing at the funeral that was like somber.
Yeah. But gentle.
Gentle, yeah.
Yeah.
Something to help ease tensions.
Okay. So you start playing. Make me a performance check.
Orpheus drum.
18.
18. So you start playing, and as you do, well, that's more creepy than I was expecting.
Oh, it's a sinister drum.
It's just warming up, I think you were.
Forgive me, that was just the first couple of strokes.
Just checking.
Let me just tune this a little.
Just going to tune myself up there.
So you start to play, and when you do start to play just like that, I mean, a few people are a little bit shocked because suddenly they're getting some music, but very quickly the tension seems to draw out a little bit. People who were huddled very closely together start opening up a bit to listen to you, and some people that were talking very quickly back and forth, slow down, and you can see that sort of effect almost ripple out over the crowd of people. As you're beginning to play, stumbling in the door, or kicking the door open with a woman across two arms, like almost carrying through the threshold of a wedding, who's protesting, "You can put me down now, it's okay."
Say very loudly, "You're safe now. I've saved you."
Oh, okay, yes, I feel very safe now.
Didn't have to wiggle so much. I was
Yes,
just trying to help.
just put me down a little bit.
Ah, there you go. Hey, off you go. Have some water.
Yes,
Sit down.
thank you,
You're
Wodun.
welcome.
Yeah,
You're
And so,
welcome.
after you're very clearly not taking the hint, she sort of shuffles away into the crowd. And you do have a few people looking at you.
Oh, I'm so exhausted after battle. Someone get this man a drink.
And from the corner, a sort of somewhat familiar face it does sort of call you. Ah, Wodun! I see you made it through the fog.
Ah, yes.
You recognize, I think it's Shanda.
Shanda, my boy.
Boy,
My man.
I'm
Apologies.
far older than you, Wodun. You know it. Come over here.
boy.
I've got a round for all the boys, and you see these sort of stout dwarves that are like all in the sort of flannel lumberjack. They all have meat in hand, and they're just sort of like, "Arr!" They start calling you over for a drink.
Alright, boys, before we get too carried away, let's have one for Kendrick.
Ah, yes. Of course. For Kendrick,
For Kendrick.
great speaker of the town, may he rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Kendrick.
And they clink together. These sort of wooden, tankards, yeah. And you're now hearing the music filter out through. It's not like some sort of rowdy tavern brawl or some sort of bawdy tune. It's not somber either, but it's gentle and it's flowing through the crowd, and you can hear it.
Tell me, Shanda, what do you know of the lizard over there with the viola?
Oh, the kobold. Yes.
Oh, is that
Never
what
thought
that
I'd hear
is?
someone say that.
Huh?
I never thought I'd hear the sentence. Tell me about that lizard with the viola.
The lizard man. No, the kobold. You say yes.
Yeah.
He wandered into town about a week ago, actually. Good with a viola, I'll give him that.
Beautiful.
Yes, he looks like he's just looking for a place to stop over. Olivessa and I, of course, and Kendrick at the time, God's rest. Yes, he'd sort of been shifty around town. We confronted him, but he just seems to want a place to hold down for a little while from the sounds of it.
Well, as you know, I've been putting together an elite team for an expedition.
You keep talking about that.
Yes, that's because it's taking a while. Do you think the lizard is he worth a look?
I don't know. He's handy with a viola. I haven't. What do you mean? Why would you even consider such a thing, Wodun?
I don't know, he's new. I haven't spoken to him yet. I've spoken to so many people around here, and they're just not as talented as me, or as strong, or handsome. That's not that important. But
and just like all of these lumberjacks just around the table, just like slowly put down their tankard and just look over at
except for these guys.
You kid, and one of them like punches your arm really hard.
That doesn't bother me. Anyway, I might
Buckles under the pressure.
once he's finished, I might have a chat. See if he's interested. I think I'm getting close.
Well, if you think someone with a fancy violin will help you out, I'm sure, but I don't think you'd be staying too much longer. You know?
Okay, I'll do it today. All
right. Well, for now, have a drink, and he sort of, gets you to go on. All right, one more for the table.
Can Carnelian hear this?
Absolutely, they are not quiet.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes.
Staring at him.
What's the twist?
Ear twitches while they're talking about him.
Dive a bit inside.
Unless you wanted to roll for stealth, but you'd be at disadvantage.
Roll for subtlety.
I'm not the most subtle.
Roll for deception. Absolutely. You could hear that.
I'll just go kind of stand awkwardly near him, like trying not to look like I'm waiting for him to finish playing, but I don't know what else to really do, so I'm just awkwardly standing there.
Carnelian, you're standing on a barrel and you're sort of like playing, and just out of the corner of your eye, every so often you just see this. How tall are you? Like 7 foot?
6'2".
This like giant man to you. Just every so often, like trying to like subtly move closer, but he stands out even compared to all the other people, like a sore thumb.
Carnelian will finish his song.
Right.
Just take another couple of minutes.
Is it like suddenly end in the middle of it?
He's gonna like let it play out and just be like set his instrument down and like take a seat and wait for the strange man to finish approaching.
Alright, well, you're sitting on a barrel, but not necessarily in front of the table. I'm assuming that Wodun will approach you now.
Yeah, he's kind of counting this.
Alright, it's time. You there, lizard. Mr. The music man.
This one's name is Carnelian.
Carnelian, my apologies. I haven't seen you around here before. But by all accounts, you're a stand-up guy. And a hell of a musician, obviously.
Oh, thank you. Is there a reason you're talking?
Well, having seen your skill on the viola, I just was curious, do you have any other skills that don't talk about it too much, but I'm putting together an elite team
Oh, you don't say.
of adventurers to go out on a dangerous and very important mission. And I'm wondering if you're the kind of lizard kobold that would be interested in that sort of thing.
This is fantastic, by the way. Never stop that voice.
Yeah, I'm in love with him already.
Well, Carnelian was thinking that it was probably time to move to the next town. But Carnelian will hear you out. What is the purpose of your trip?
Well, Wodun was. I was thinking of this town. These people are being oppressed by this severe winter, and this. There's some entity. I don't know. Oriel, who has plunged this town into winter. It's very sad, and these people are struggling. And I've been tasked with heading out and finding why this is happening and putting an end to the reign of this beast.
From what Carnelian's seen, it's the whole Dale, not just the town.
Yes, well, there's a lot of ground to cover, which is why I need a team. Are you interested? Well, actually, you haven't told me if you have skills.
Carnelian knows some magic, just a little bit right now, but they're getting better. Carnelian is also handy with a sword. You must have missed it. Humans are terribly bad at seeing in the dark, but Carnelian did skewer a couple of those goblin-looking things, but I don't know. Maybe
Oh
you
no,
missed it.
I saw. I have excellent vision. And
Deception check?
Yeah. Do you want to roll an insight check on that?
Do I have to?
Okay, tell him if you want.
but yes, I did happen to see you skewer that shard of glass or crystal,
Ice.
ice crystal. That's what I was getting to. And let me just say now, if you know magic and you're handy with a skewer, you're on the team. I cannot pay you. But
Best benefactor ever.
Do you have any food?
yes, I have some food. What do you eat?
What do you eat?
I eat normal food, like steaks, potatoes, broccolini.
What's a broccoli?
It's like a tiny actually, it's probably a regular size tree for you, but
Sorry, Carnelian either didn't catch your name or just overheard it, but Carnelian doesn't think you introduced yourself?
that's probably true. My name is Wodun Cromhurst.
Wodun, have you heard of anybody in the town disappearing?
Disappearing?
Like just wandering off in the middle of the night and not coming back, or...
I mean, it sounds like something spooky that would happen around here, but I haven't been told of it.
So nothing specific then.
Have you? Do you know something?
No.
Okay. Well, let's keep it that way. You and me, protectors of the 10 towns.
Were you planning on heading to any of the other towns, or...
I've been to one or two, and this is my favorite so far.
Well, certainly seems more friendly than some of the others.
There's some pretty barbaric practices that happen around here. Have you? Which ones have you been to?
I can't remember the names.
Well, I mean, look,
Welcome to my
you
world.
can ask the DM if you'd like.
Carnelian has avoided the larger ones because no one will notice if Carnelian goes missing.
Oh,
Well, that's a bit sad.
that's a bit rough. Come on, baby.
Well, so this is more regarding said barbaric practices.
Let's see.
So just out of character, I mean, you can ask me about a multitude of towns if you think your character would know. But I do have a list of the town names and locations here if you'd like any further clarification. Some of them you might require you to roll, depending on how familiar you are.
Give me the closest to Goodmead.
Okay. So do you want just the closest biggest towns, or do you want...
Just the closest in general.
So to the south of Goodmead is another small town called Duggan's Hole. You know in particular that this town's fairly unfriendly, not just to you, but to sort of anyone that seems to wander on through. It's, if you can imagine it, even smaller than Goodmead. And then you've also got two major towns that run parallel to a crossroads a little bit further north from Goodmead. That's Bryn Shander and East Haven. They're probably two of the largest towns in the 10 towns. They have, proper like city walls or ramparts and more solid structures than these small towns. Yeah, unless you want any more, but I can give you some more information if you'd like to roll for it.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so as you guys are sort of still mid-discussion, I'm going to say, Horacio and Svieta, is there anything you'd like to do as you walk into the meat hall?
Did we find anyone on our excursion?
You did find a few people that were, some of them disorientated, just because they'd been caught in the fog and they were trying to reach home, and even as the fog cleared, obviously they were knocked around a bit, you were able to sort of sit them down for a few minutes, calm them down, and then direct them to the right home. Again, probably no one with more than a cut or a bruise. You did find someone that had been, it looks like they'd been grabbed by one of the creatures, but they managed to get away. And it looks like the bulk of them sort of managed to happen upon you guys rather than anyone else, which you think might be quite lucky. Since you handled yourselves pretty well, you're not sure how some of these folk, young kids, older women and men, everyone, there's, a couple of militia people are also coming around town too, so they see you looking after people, and some of them will join you and have a brief conversation, and before they also go out looking to see if there's anyone that needs a hand.
So, after our tour of the town, we got the impression that the attack was pretty localized where we were.
Looks like it.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe even some sort of attack, just sort of opportune moment.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want to do some more investigation around the fight, the creatures that you slew, it would be hard to know more without this stage.
In hindsight, that's a good idea.
I don't want to tell you how to play your character.
No.
Did I notice these guys coming into the tavern?
So you guys back to the tavern now after that, or do you want to...
Oh, sorry, the meat hall.
The meat hall? I was saying tavern as well.
Or
do you want to head to the...
If you'll allow it, I would like to ask Sven if she'd let me just inspect one of the creatures.
You can go back, yeah.
Yeah.
So before you head to the meat hall, we'll transition to that. You go back to... So your first priority was people, right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense. You guys are trying to make sure everyone was okay. And then you circle on back, now back to the scene of the fight where you are, and you can see a couple of the town militia, which this town's able to muster... Let's see what they've got here. They can muster, a good 25 people or so to a local militia if needed, but it can be a bit slow to respond, obviously in a sudden attack like that. And it was not obvious that it was an attack right away, just the fog rolling in. So now that obviously the sounds of combat were heard and some people were, minorly injured, there's a couple of those guys now around town with spears and whatnot. But they're not like city watch or anything like that. This town's not that big.
Yeah.
They're regular folk that just may be a bit more handy with a weapon.
Yeah.
And a couple of them are just sort of looking over the battle scene, like the battle from where you were, and one of them sort of poking one of the little things with its spear.
You there? Stop that.
Oh, sorry, sir. Just a bit curious.
It's all right. And I'll approach one that is not as mangled, perhaps. Maybe one that's more intact.
Sure.
Just to try and get an idea of its nature. Maybe inspect its blood.
Sure. You could do a nature or a medicine check if you'd like. Spencer, while that's happening, is there anything you'd like to investigate?
I'm actually going to squat beside, the Spider-Man and
Yes.
the bug, like that, and just kind of like observe what Horatio's doing, and try to get like an idea of like.
To be clear, that meme of Into the Spider-Verse where Miles is like copying Peter Parker's, like looking at something,
like dipping my fingers in the blood and be like, sniff.
It smells horrible.
So can I make an assisted medicine check? If that's what...
Well, did you decide a medicine or nature?
I decided a medicine.
Okay, then in that case, yes, if you'd like to assist with the medicine check, roll with advantage.
Awesome, thank you. Even better. That is a 20.
Okay, so remembering from the fight that you had, that you sort of identified, I think, these creatures as ice crags, if I remember correctly. So, just doing basic medicine, I mean, obviously you can tell how they died.
No, sorry to interrupt. I I'm just writing down everything that we're doing. I did not, and I don't think anyone did.
I think I asked.
Someone identified them because I said the name.
Okay.
Yeah, no, ice crags were mentioned, but I'm not sure.
Whoever
Must
mentioned
have
them, I'm
missed
not
that.
sure.
I'm pretty sure that was the first thing that Horacio did was try and
Actually,
work out what they are.
Ice crags.
Yeah, I think between one of you two, maybe you've done the nature check to try and figure it out. Probably Horatio.
Yeah.
So with the medicine check, just sort of bringing them in tow, you think that these creatures are they are not solitary, but they're also not. They don't grow. Not only like they don't look like they're in big communities. They look like they're whatever they are in sort of small, maybe roaming or like almost nomadic style of creatures. They're somewhat intelligent, although you don't think they're that intelligent. Just looking at their skull
and based on how they fought.
Yeah. They fought pretty basically. Although what sort of concerns you a little bit is that they were synergizing their attack with this fog rolling in. And if you remember, you had heard, seen, I believe, Carnelian break a shard. So you think that there's something to that. There's some sort of connection there. And their innate sort of, resistance or immunity to cold sort of makes you think that they were intelligent enough to synergize with something, whether it being an entity or a magic item or totem.
Did Horatio see the little... would Horatio know what Carnelian is?
Yeah, kobolds are common enough that you probably wouldn't even need to check. If you want some specific information, you'd have to do a nature check.
But I know that he was a kobold.
But kobolds are prevalent enough throughout the Forgotten Realms to know roughly what they are. Generally, for the most part, people see them as monsters or as just vermin, even. They don't generally consider them to be much. So it's quite unusual to see one, for example, in town and around about.
Carnelian takes offence to that remark.
Carnelian can certainly take offence to it, but that's how people see Carnelian, unfortunately.
Carnelian is aware. That's why he takes offence.
Listen, Carnelian can't talk to the DM. So you definitely think it's unusual for a kobold to be in with other humanoids and mixing in, because they just generally don't get perceived very well.
Yeah.
But just your own assessment, I mean, just being a kobold doesn't necessarily discount them from anything else.
And being out here, how do I know? They
Exactly.
might be common.
But you would know what he is.
Yeah, okay. So, no, would I have seen the little kobold inspecting... Because you inspected the shard, didn't you? Would I have seen him inspecting it?
Absolutely. So you could make your way over there as well.
So, yeah, I am curious to see what he had to say about that. Because now I feel like now that Horatio knows that everyone's okay, he's sort of into I don't know, he feels compelled to try and work out what the hell happened. Because he thinks this is
10 towns.
Well, it's partially because it's just sort of in his medical background, problem solving, wants to figure out what the hell's wrong. But also because he's literally has something to do. He's not just trapped at the house anymore. So it's a bit of both.
He's been in quarantine for too long.
Yeah, he's been in quarantine for some time. So yeah, he's getting into it.
So yes, and look, roughly where that thing fell. So it takes you a little bit of time because it's like glass or ice. So it blends in pretty well with the background, and people have been walking to and fro. But actually, make me an investigate or a survival check.
Okay.
You can't really. You can assist with one or the other, but I would only allow assistance if you had proficiency in whatever Horatio's doing.
Well, I guess it's not really fair for me to ask what you're good at, but I think it makes sense for me to go down the investigation path.
Do you have
I'll
a...
leave on
I
the
will
investigation.
not be assisting.
Yeah, so I will only allow if it's proficiency, because it feels like that you need a bit more to it. You could make an independent survival check if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a 12.
12. That's okay. That'll be enough. It takes you a bit of time though, but you do sort of eventually find the area where it is, and sort of it's been half kicked over and covered over. You sort of brush it away, and you're able to see this sort of long shard that has been shattered into a lot of different smaller pieces. What do you do?
Does it look sharp? Does it look dangerous?
Do you touch it?
No.
Okay.
Well, what I might do So it's sort of split up into how? If it was a single piece still, how big would it be?
It would
roughly?
probably be. I was about to say yay, and then I was like, well, this is audio. So
How many
people need to
yays?
understand. It's probably no more than I'd say 30 centimeters long. So that's about a foot, is it?
That is
Try
about
to-
a foot, yeah.
Yes,
It's
Got
intact. Intact. It was a foot.
metric. Yeah, so it's about a foot long altogether, which is not very big. It was a small sort of thing.
Footy? Okay.
Maybe a little bit it's very long and narrow, a little bit wide as it sort of spreads out.
Okay. Well, I might take out a cloth from my kit and sort of being careful not to touch them directly. I might just sort of get them all together and wrap them up.
So I'm imagining then that you've got a cloth, put it in your hand, and then grab the.
Yeah, that's a good way
Okay.
to do it. Yeah.
Through the cloth, it feels cold. Like it feels
Even through my own
even through
gloved
the
hand,
cloth,
plus the
gloved
cloth.
hand, it feels biting cold. Not enough for you to feel like you've taken any kind of damage or pain, but it's certainly you can just feel it seeping through.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll bundle up in such a way that it won't stab me if I fall over or something,
You
and,
can do that.
and keep it on my person.
Yeah, absolutely. Sveta, is there anything you'd like to do?
I'm still just observing, just
Okay.
making sure he doesn't do anything, and just still being on watch, just in case something else comes.
Roll
Yeah,
a
because I
roll a,
would-
roll a quick survival check.
I would say Horatio is almost like a bloodhound now. He's almost like not even
Possessed
thinking
into
about things anymore. Yeah. It's been too long, man. I need stimulation.
That is a 20 on survival.
Okay, that's good. So you were looking around the battlefield, like just sort of, you're on watch, but you're also sort of surveying the battlefield around you. And you're like counting up the bodies, and then you're also take a look over, and Horatio's looking at this thing on the ground that's sort of like a shard. And you're sort of putting together your knowledge that, potentially Horatio was muttering about the things that he was discovering as he was making the medicine check and what he knew about ice cracks. And you're thinking about what you know about sort of local things in the area, and you're pretty sure that these creatures would have attacked together. It'd be an attack of like an opportunity type thing. So the goal would be to grab like one person and run type deal. Whatever their goal is with that person is up to whatever happens next. But you think that it wasn't like there was a big widespread attack across town. It's likely that they were all together here, and you were able to stop it right here. So that puts your mind a little bit at ease, probably.
It makes me a bit worried about, like, if it was targeted, who were they targeting?
Yeah. Okay. After that, then, Horatio, is there anything you'd like to do before heading to the mead hall?
Interesting. The colour's different, but the viscosity seems the same.
I'll just put my... I guess it's paw.
You've got a hand.
I got a hand.
You've got a hand. It's got like
I'm human-ish.
ish, yeah.
If I store it carefully, it should be.
Put
nice
it
and
on
cold.
Horatio's shoulder to, like, knock you out of whatever kind of stupor you might be in.
Sorry.
You should get somewhere warm. Are you okay?
I'm very okay. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Let's go and join the others. I suppose. The mead hall. I presume.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so then you make your way not that far then to the mead hall. And as I said before, you sort of walk in. You can see a lot of people that are gathered around different areas. There's lots of groups. You can see Shander with his lumberjacks sort of in their own corner. They're being a bit rowdy. You can see some other faces that you're familiar with throughout the town in their own little groups. It looks like, though, they're in good spirits, though, considering all. And towards the back, you can see a small kobold sitting on a barrel being talked at by a large man who you recognise as Wodun, who was with you earlier.
Well, first of all, is anyone injured?
So you walk in and you sort of say that. So a few people. There's no music playing anymore. So everyone sort of just murmurs no, and you sort of see off to your side Olivessa from. Well, thank you, Horatio. It looks like we've all come through unscathed.
Very good. Very good. I just wanted to be sure.
We appreciate everything you've done since you've been here. I don't think that you're expected to suddenly be both, what does it call it? Funerary rites as well as healer. This must be unusual.
Well, with my chosen deity, I think it's all one and the same, really.
Quite.
I'd like to think of it less as healing as more of prevention of death until the time is right.
Indeed. Well, we could all use a little bit of that around the 10 towns. Make yourselves comfortable. Anything you wish to drink, can put it on my tab for the town, since you're staying here for us for a little while.
You're most kind. Thank you.
And everyone sort of goes back to resuming to their talks.
Should we go and talk to the little kobold?
Perhaps save him from Wodun?
Yeah, Sveta's looking at this and you sort of know Wodun. And you're like, I should probably rescue that poor kobold.
You look over and you can see him like making big hand gestures, and like because you're looking, you can sort of hear what he's saying, and you can just hear this like,
It was huge, and then I slayed it with my hammer.
He is a
They
very,
weren't that big.
All
he's a
right.
very loud man.
So
Down.
you've got Wodun up there. So you approach, I would say the table, but you're just still sitting on a barrel.
Yeah.
Carnelian. What do you do? Wodun, you see these two approaching.
I'll approach with Svieta because I did ask you, like, as we're approaching, like, do you know him?
I know of him, but I don't think he knows me. He's not from here. I forget why he's here. He's just very loud, and I left town before I could find out.
I see. I'll just
You
approach
see you
with
approach?
you. Yeah.
Wodun,
Oh, it's you. Hello.
you leave this little kobold alone.
No, we're just chatting. It's all good. It's all good. But I do need another drink. Will you be around for a bit? I'd like to have a chat with you.
I guess I don't have a choice.
Yes, excellent. I'll be back.
Is there any Carnelian? Well, I just say it sounds like there is.
Carnelian thinks he's going to ask you to help him save the 10 towns.
Oh, I want to go home now.
Save the 10 towns.
Is this a quest you accepted from him?
Carnelian's considering.
I
It's he says he has food. Carnelian mostly trusts that he has food.
Carnelian, food is not good reason to go on a quest.
Food is a very good reason for Carnelian right now. Carnelian is quite hungry a lot of the time.
Oh, do you want me to get you some food?
Carnelian has an agreement with the proprietor.
Is that what we're supposed to call him now? Well, I'm not calling him that. He's not my proprietor.
Did Carnelian use the right... Sorry, the common tongue is still a bit new to Carnelian.
Where are you from that doesn't have food?
No, okay.
Can you remember the town name?
Humans aren't particularly keen to give Carnelian food, even if Carnelian has money.
Oh, that is terrible.
I mean, there isn't much to go around, particularly in the dead of winter.
That's true. I'm surprised I even eaten more.
Carnelian doesn't taste very good, is what Carnelian tells most people.
Interesting tactic.
As you're discussing that, Wodun approaches the table with mead tankard in hand.
I'm back. I found these on the bar. Do you eat these? And I have like a handful of old bar nuts that I found on top of the bar.
Carnelian won't say anything, but he will reach out to take the nuts.
As Carnelian's reaching out to take the nuts, you see Olivessa approach your table. Or I should say table, but again, it's just a barrel that you've all congregated around. And she addresses all of you. It's good to see you're all together. I actually wanted to talk to all of you individually, but this will save us a bit of time.
I was going to talk about something, but you go first.
Yes, quite. And as Carnelian is reaching for the nut still in Wodun's hand, we'll find out what happens and what Horacio has to say next week.
That's enough of that.
That's a tasty beverage.